What's up, fam? It's your boy, Pastor Bruce Justice. Sorry, trying to get a little set up here. But what's going on, folks? It's Pastor Bruce Justice with another video blog. It has taken me a while to try to get kind of in the swing of things. I've been actually looking for some topics. Finally got one. This video is on the favor of God and material things. Okay, before you start throwing rocks, let me just explain, and I kind of really am just doing this because I want your perspective on it. For me, I start off here with Romans 4:21, and it says, being fully convinced that what he had promised, he was also able to perform. It's talking about Abraham and how Abraham believed God. He believed God for the promise of a son. And of course, we know how that story goes. Abraham tried to do it on his own, ended up getting Ishmael. God said, no, that ain't my promise. And then he got Isaac, who was the promise. And you know how the whole story unfolds from there. But for me, I have faith in God. I understand what faith in God is. I know that I have placed my total trust in God and that I've surrendered fully over to Him. But the problem I have is when Christians tell me that because I have faith in God, I gotta be broke. That doesn't sit right with me. I'm not feeling that in my spirit. Really, I just don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me that everybody's gonna struggle because you're a Christian. And I'm not saying that if you're struggling that you're not a Christian. I just don't think that struggling should be the way of life for a believer. Now, I am not saying that God is not sovereign and that some people as believers will not struggle, because I see that there are many that do. But I also see a lot of believers who struggle not because they believe in God, because they don't believe that God is doing anything for them. When you talk to them, you know that they believe. There is fruit, there's long suffering, there's kindness. The fruits of the Spirit are there, and others around them are intrigued and look at them and say, wow, God has done a lot of things in their character. But John says that he wished that you would prosper as your soul prospers. And my thing is, if God is doing so much in your character, why is there so little physical manifestation of that? Why are you talking about God is so great, my life just got cut off, or I got a final notice, or my car note's behind a month, or this, that, and the other? And I understand, yeah, times come up, and I'm not saying that God cannot handle those situations. There's been many a time where my light bill didn't get paid, and they said they were going to cut it off, and because of God, they didn't cut it off, and the money miraculously shows up late with the late fee, and God pays it. And I give God all glory, honor, and praise for that. But my issue is those people who say that that should be a constant lifestyle. I don't believe that. The favor of God is the same for everybody, I believe, at the onset of salvation. And let me explain that really briefly. I think that the moment you get saved, that's when you receive justification, you start sanctification, and you receive the favor of God. All that's wrapped up in salvation. The moment you believe, God gives you that instantly. It's a done deal. Whether you realize it or not, I believe it's a done deal. However, I believe that you can grow in favor. 1 Samuel 2:26 says, and the child Samuel grew on and was in favor both with the Lord and with men. Now, let's look at the New King James Version to kind of clear that up a little bit. It says, and the child Samuel grew in stature and in favor both with the Lord and men. So, as Samuel's obedience continued, he grew in favor with the Lord. Not saying that the Lord liked him more than he likes me, or he liked him more than he liked David, but he grew in favor, in rapport. He had a stronger relationship. And that's where I get it from. That's where I understand how I understand it. If you can point out something else and show me that in a different light, I'm welcome to see it. But right now, that's how I see it. Acts 7:46 says that even David found favor with God when he was looking for a place to put the Ark of the Covenant. He got favor. So, I mean, favor shouldn't be a new concept or a new thing to believers. Jesus himself said that if then you being evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more would the Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Now, the reason I bring that up is because in favor, Jesus had the perfect relationship with God, and we see that in the context, he says, who would give their child a stone if they asked for bread? Who would give your child a snake if he asked for food? I mean, we see he's speaking exactly on physical things. Why then, in the midst of talking, saying physical, 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 spiritual, spiritual, spiritual? I don't get that. I don't think that that's the meaning. When Jesus spoke in parables, it entirely speaks of physical things and entirely speaks of spiritual things. So why is it now he has to be speaking of physical things, then stop in the middle of it and speak of spiritual things? I don't understand that. I can't wrap my mind around that. It's not how Jesus acted. It's not what the Bible teaches us and how Jesus taught. Jesus taught physical and spiritual at the same time. If he was speaking specifically on the spiritual, he made it clear this is specifically spiritual. If he was speaking specifically on the physical, he said that. We can see that in John 3 when he talked to Nicodemus. He said, you must be born of water and from above. There's a distinction. He said, that which is born of flesh is flesh. That which is born of spirit is spirit. Here he's specifically talking to us who are born of spirit. He's not talking to non-believers because they don't have favor with God. They get gifts, they don't get our gifts. We are the elect, the saints, the favored of God. We are his children, which is exactly why I think he says, why not your Father from heaven? Your father ain't from heaven if your father's the devil. Let's be real. Satan ain't from heaven. Satan can go to heaven. He can show up. He can't stay. And in the end, he ain't gonna be there. Sorry to tell you that. It's just he's not gonna be there. So, like the page, like the fan page. You can see my personal page. Please leave comments. Leave questions. I'll answer any questions that you have. Tell me what your thoughts are. Do you believe God speaks that we can have physical things? I understand that if you do, that there might be a limit. You can elaborate if you want. I'll probably do another video similar to this. Tell me anything, and let us know what other topics you want to make. And I hope to see you soon. God bless. And I'm